I'm just going to try and get this to fit. Sorry I'm late again, guys, but it's been a busy evening. And again, I've only just managed to get sat down. Been a night of running around being a taxi again. And it's going to be similar tomorrow night, I'm afraid. So I've got my wife to drop off for her weekly girls meeting thing, and then my daughter's in Manchester at a gig, so I need to go pick her up from that tomorrow night. So I won't be live again. How does one request a model? Well, you can initially DM me through here if you want to chat about it. I do have a waiting list until about August, September at the moment, but happy to talk if you're happy with the timelines. But yeah, message me on here, or you can find my Instagram link on my bio. You can message me through Instagram instead. Many channels of communication. Oh, come on, that was nearly there. There we go. .124 scale. Wow, that's a challenge. That's almost twice as big as this one. I'm warning you though, it's not cheap, especially the bigger scales. It's true, the Reaper. I've modelled the internal features in this one because you will see some of them when the lights are on, and to be honest, it's just a bit of a because I wanted to. But I generally don't model the features because, like, as you said, they're not there. But sometimes it's fun just to do something so you know they're there. But you will see, if you look closely through the windows of this one, you will see what's inside. So I just wanted to make it look. I just want to make it look a bit more realistic. My usual technique with models that are lit, at least, if they have curtains, I'll put up. I'll make some curtains out of printed paper, and put curtains behind the windows. And then, say for example, I only wanted this room lit. I'd just put a black box inside, so it would just show shadow, but the light would show. So you wouldn't actually see that it's an empty box inside. You just get a silhouette, a shadow. You want a house from a film? I'm actually making a house from a film. It's second on the list after this one. I'm going to be making the model, the house from Fast and Furious. Although I haven't actually seen that film. I've seen some of the sequels, but I haven't seen the original. But yeah, I've been tasked to make that one. But it's coming up. Like I say, I've got quite a large waiting list at the moment, though. So that's what you want. Well, you never know. Might be able to get a slight discount for making it twice. What he's doing on the outside, very little on the outside. I say very little. I've all the brickwork to paint. I need to paint the windowsills. I need to finish off all the barge board areas around the outside, and then add gutters. Then I need to add the roof. So there's quite a lot. You've got 37 Fast and Furious 124 scales. I bet that's impressive looking. Thank you, Lukey Oldies. So I just need to add some extra thickness to these two dormers, and I've still got to completely roof this bit. I've run out of material, so I'm waiting for material to arrive before I can do that side. So the only thing I can do now is fill extra depth for the roof bit here. I've still got a little bit of Foamex left. So the scale I'm doing now is 1/50th scale, so it's like half the size of your scale. I should have said the scale of 1/24 scale, your cars, basically. My usual scale is 1/76. What will I go after I've done the outside? I'm going to start landscaping it, so it's going to be set in its gardens. So I will need to start setting it into an environment. So in this case, there's a set of concrete steps that go all the way around the building. So the back is actually lower than the front. There's a bit of a basement at the back that's accessible from the outside. So there is actually a set of stairs leading from the front, which I've started to make. So that's the front door. We go down a set of stairs here, and then we will continue going down the stairs to the back. And then around that, I'm going to have all the garden and the maybe you'd be better off looking at sort of 1/64 scale, sort of Hot Wheels size. So this is 1/50th scale. So if you imagine this gable end here at 1/24 scale, sort of the roof's going to be way up here. It's going to be a huge house. Export from AutoCAD. Is that what you said? This has dropped lower than it should be. Let's just push it up a bit. There we go. The chimney's still removable, but I just want to make sure it doesn't sink too low. I am doing the whole property boundary, yes. So in scale terms, it's going to be big. It's going to be about 800 by 800. So yeah, it's going to be hard to film when I start adding the boundary line. So it's going to be bigger than the desk area that I've got here. I may end up having to take my shelf down so I can accommodate it. So although I've already done the dormers here, I just need to add some extra depth to it. It all depends on what I do. Obviously, something a lot smaller can take just a couple of weeks. But so I'd probably say the shortest model if it's a house model we're talking about, the shortest time a house model has taken me has been about 50 hours. But the longest anything has taken me is probably a big mill that I made that took over 200 hours. 800 by 800, yeah, something like that. So it's sort of less than a metre square, but it's still fairly massive. I've just shaved out the wrong direction. It's easily done. I mean, I've been asked to do smaller models before, like model sheds. So I had a period where I was making a lot of like pub shed type models for people in the lockdown period when they built a little pub shed in their garden. So I made replicas of summer houses and things and something like that, and it takes about a week. Can I translate that? No, I don't think they will find imperfections, to be honest. But nothing's ever 100% perfect, but on the whole, my clients generally tend to love the work that I do. I think it was Spanish. It's alright, I've translated. There's a little translate button. I've just got to stop what I'm doing to press it. quite useful, that, really. But they were saying, what a beautiful model. It's a pity that once you present it, they will find many imperfections. I don't know if that's actually just the translation going astray, but that's why I was saying that. I don't know if you can translate as well. Do you have the option to translate comments when they come in? Good evening, Andy. Oh, there's bound to be something. I am a perfectionist, but not everything's perfect. Yeah. Well, I think he just translated himself. Thank you very much, anyway. Like I said, nothing's ever perfect, but I try to get it as good as I can. But my sort of style with making models is I don't want it to look pristine. I don't want it to look like a model. I want it to look like a miniature house. There is a difference. I want it to look like a miniature recreation rather than something that looks like it's a model. Does that make sense? It is UK, but it's in Northern Ireland, this one. You weren't going to come in. How dare you? How dare you? Good evening, Yaya. I said I was going to be, if I was going to be on, I was going to be late today. You know, I can't resist a bit of work. It's okay. You're allowed a night off. Is it easy to break? Yeah, if you throw it. This stuff's quite resilient, the material that I'm using right now. So is the MDF. But I imagine if you were fairly careless with it, it would break. So you definitely don't want to leave it somewhere where the cat can knock it off the table. Or a toddler can use it as catching practice. He's coming to pick it up. I just end up being so lucky when it comes to things like this. But yeah, he has plans on coming over. He's got family over here, so he's going to come and take a trip, pick it up in person, which is good. The exact same thing. The last time I had a house in Dublin, and he said, "Don't worry about it. I shall come and collect." He literally got on the ferry with the family. I think they did a sort of similar thing to Andy's plans. They took a little break over here, and like I say, came and picked it up in person, which is good. Good evening, Gillian. Road trip. Love a road trip. So this is just a bit of cladding. It's not a perfect roofing because the roof is going to go on top of it, so I just need something for it to sit on. So at this stage I'm not concerned about bits meeting. I'm going to use some filler to just need something for it to sit on. So at this stage I'm not concerned about bits meeting. I'm going to use some filler to just to fill the edges. Yes, they are expensive. It depends what you mean by expensive though. Expensive is all relative, but yes, they take an awful lot of work, so I charge accordingly. I think you'll probably cry if he drops it by accident. There we go. There's only one gable to go now. Well, I've got that to clad. I've just got the other one to completely do, but I've run out of material until tomorrow. I prefer using super glue because it's fast acting. I'm down to dregs. Yeah, I prefer using super glue because it's fast acting, which means I can quickly glue something on and then move on, instead of having to wait for things to dry and set. It's already insured, just put it in the household insurance. It's on mini household insurance. Surely I've got a bit left somewhere. There it is. So there's all bits left everywhere. Right, so I might still be able to use a bit of that. So I just need to add extra depth to this. I've already done the same to these gables, so they're just currently setting. And once they're set, gables, dormers, if you call them gables, they're dormers. So once they're set, I can just give it a light sand, and then I'm going to tile it. Now I've already started tiling the kitchen extension just as a test to see how it's going to go. So you can see there the tiles are starting to take shape. So they'll be painted a terracotta colour. That's the it's got the barge board fascia on there as well. So that'll be the same treatment that I'll use up here. But what I think I'm going to do for this is I'm going to cut a card template first, and then sit the tiling in there. But that might not work though with these sort of straight awkward gables. So I'm going to have to think about that as I'm building. Thank you, Luke. This is a 1/50th scale recreation of my client's house that I'm building to scale. So not only will it be the house, but I'm also going to build all the grounds. It's got quite a substantial garden around it, so I can have fun with plants and grass. The kids have got a climbing frame in the garden, so I'll be building that as well. So Andy, if you've got if it's an off-the-shelf solution, the climbing frame, it'd be useful if you could find out where it's from, if there's any kind of drawings or plans of it. I don't use exclusively the same material, but I use Foamex and I use MDF. So the main part of the house is the bits with the apertures. That's been made out of 2mm MDF that I've laser cut. The roofing sections that I'm building now are made from Foamex. So that's this stuff here. It's like it's a foamed PVC, so it's quite strong but lightweight, almost plastic material. It's not foam board. It's harder than foam board, but it cuts easily. Yeah, no, it takes longer than 2 weeks. So yeah, it can take anywhere between 4 and 6 weeks, sometimes longer. I've lost track of where I am. So we're on about 50 hours on this one, not including all the drawing time. I've lost track of where I've put this now. Where did I cut? I think I've cut it off. Let me see if I can... let me just follow you, Claire. Follow you back. If you have a look at my YouTube, there's a full start to finish house that I've built. That was built exclusively out of Foamex. So if you, I think it's called Victorian Villa. But if you have a look at my YouTube, which is at LNR Models, there are a couple of videos which show the entire process from start to finish in a condensed form. I think I do list what I use in there. I told you 2 weeks. I don't think so. Look at this then, Ace. Foamex. You might already be aware of it if you're already doing architecture, but there's an online store. They actually do have a physical store as well. They're called 4D Models. They're based in London, but they have their online presence is called modelshop.co.uk. They have everything that you might need to make a scale model of anything. But specifically, this material here is absolutely fantastic for architectural modelling. A lot of people use foam board for architecture models, but I reckon Foamex sort of outguns it dramatically. So if you're looking to make architectural models, I would thoroughly recommend Foamex. Its product name is that it comes under for 4D models is Pallight, P-A-L-I-G-H-T, Pallight. It's just a brand name. So Foamex is a brand name as well, but you can get it as Palfoam, Pallight. 4X is another brand name. How long do I work on it for a day? Depends how long I've got. Tonight is an anomaly because I've not been able to sit down for very long before having to run out and do some taxi driving for people. I'm not a taxi driver, it's just I end up having to ferry the family around. But usually between 2 and 4 hours a night. On a weekend I work a lot longer. Website, so it's modelshop.co.uk. All one word. The company name is 4D Models. The number 4, letter D, Models. Have a look, they've got loads of stuff. So you can buy architectural figures, trees, tree making kits, raw materials to make pretty much anything you want to. Hello Anton, how are you doing? Hello David. Sorry Anton, I'm going to have to just translate that. How did I do the house? Well, the first thing I always do is I have to draw it up on a computer package. So I've used Adobe Illustrator because I'm a graphic designer as well, so I have the Adobe suite of products. But I use Adobe Illustrator to draw the plans, and then the main shell has been laser cut. I used to do it by hand, so I previously print out all the elevations onto a piece of paper, and then I would glue it onto a sheet of Foamex, the material I'm using here, and then I cut out all the bits using the print as a template. But I've since graduated onto a Cricut to do the cutting straight to the material, and then recently I've acquired a laser cutter which enables me to do it a lot faster. So the main shell of the model has been laser cut, but the other elements have all been handmade. So all the roofing parts, all these dormers, all the internal structures are all hand cut from Foamex. This is, like I say, I can just cut this with a knife. I can do it really, really quickly. It glues with super glue. It sets extremely fast. Especially if you use activator spray. You don't normally need it with super glue. With Foamex, it just bonds. Usually it bonds instantaneously. It only doesn't bond instantaneously when you want it to. So the glass that I've used for the windows is a material called PETG. This has actually been used as a glue palette, but it's a material called PETG. This is 0.5mm thick. It has a protective film both sides. I've already peeled one side off. And guess which side it is? I don't know. One's like a frosted type colour and the other's clear. I can't peel it off now because I'm trying to show you. I think it's this side. There we go. Yeah, so when you peel the protective film off, it's very, very clear, transparent. It's quite thick though. It's a bit too scale thick if you're being really picky, but it does a great job of making very clear windows. No, I can't remember which way around this was now. That's the piece there. So like I say, I'm just packing up the height of the windows here, and then I'm going to use some filler just to enhance it. Enhance the slope. So you can get PETG from Model Shop as well. The 4D models place. So everything you pretty much like not everything I use, because the laser board that I use comes from a special laser suppliers. So if you're into laser cutting, I can thoroughly recommend Hobart's as a supplier. And you can get most materials from Amazon, but Foamex isn't that readily available, and it's a bit dodgy. The sort of a bit hit and miss. The sort of materials that you get. I anticipate it's going to take another 30 to 50 hours. I know that's a broad range, but I think I'm kind of halfway through. At 50 hours, I'm about halfway through. So the house is not that, there's not that much to do on the house itself. I've got to paint all the brickwork that you can see here. All the windowsills need painting. The roof tiles need adding, which is going to take a while. I've got all the fascias to add to the barge board areas. I've got all the gutters to add, all the downpipes to add. So when I say I've not got a lot to do, the more I list, the more I realise that I do have a lot left to do. But it's I like to add as much detail as I possibly can. So there's all the details that you can see on a house are going to be added. Like I said, the garden's going to take a while, and I have to figure out how I'm going to mount it onto a board and get the electrics added, because at the moment it's temporarily switched. I've got a temporary switch here which will light up the lights, but I need to move this switch to somewhere at the edge of the final board. I've also got a window missing. I need to make a window. I keep forgetting about that. There is a window that will go in here. At the moment it's masked up with masking tape, but I keep forgetting it, and it's not the one that is it's not the one that I put in a pot, because that was for somewhere else. I ended up just not cutting it at all. It's a bigger scale than I normally work. Can you not see? You can't really see the inside because I've roofed it, although you can kind of see a bit here. So this is a little bit of the inside because I've not put the roof on this bit. There's a bed in there with a cat sat on it, so we've got all the rooms. You get a little bit better idea. If I could bring the camera down, show you inside the bedroom. You can see that there's a bed in there, and then you can see the doorways. So again, there's another bed in that bedroom. You can see through the door into the rest of the house. Downstairs, it's not. I'll move the camera for you. Downstairs, you just see there's a sort of way through. And that one's all dark because there's nothing in it, but there is a room. No, only all the upstairs bedrooms have lights, and one of the downstairs rooms has a light. This is the family room down here. I probably in retrospect should have put a sofa or something in, but I just left them as as open rooms. Sorry, Anton, just need to translate again. How do I do? Good to meet you too, Anton. Oh, you're asking how I do it. Was it a greeting or an asking how I do? Thank you, Brookie. So yeah, I don't normally do interiors. I've just stepped up with this one because I felt it needed to be done. That would be something, wouldn't it, Luke? But unfortunately, sort of what I call vanity projects aren't really viable at the moment. Yeah, I have made a big sort of doll's house sized scale model for a client a few years ago, but it was just a shell because she wanted to be able to fully furnish it herself, and she's in fact since commissioned lots of makers and interior designer pals of hers to make various bits for the rooms. So you've got like a bespoke bed and chaise longue and things like that. But she's very much into interior design, so she's designed each room as it is in real life. Yeah, it's a real house that I'm building. So he's sent me all the photographs and scale plans, which I'm working off. So because he's had a lot of work done on remodelling, so he's got full architect's plans. Although I have since discovered, after both studying the plans and the photographs, that some elements aren't quite accurate, much to my annoyance. So I start drawing something up and then I realise it isn't actually right, like I did today. Why is the door halfway up the house? That is a very good question. Lots of people ask me that. I will answer that shortly. The door is halfway up the wall because it is on split levels. So that's actual ground level here. So there'll be a set of steps leading to the door. I haven't quite finished this, but there's a step leading to the door from ground level, which is about here. And then it proceeds round the house. We go down the stairs until we reach ground level at the back. So this is floor level at the back, but I've made it the full height of the rear of the house so I can then sink the landscape around it. It's much more realistic to fit landscape up to the model rather than trying to plonk the model onto a landscape. It just looks better. But he's quite. Sometimes sometimes when I'm making models like this and they have got quite deep surroundings, the floating doors do look weird. I think I made a model of a chateau recently that had the same sort of thing. It had a sloping road line, so I had a set of model ladders leading up to it with a little figure posing next to it. But that's what we got going on there. So you can kind of travel around the house. You sort of walk down here, all the way down along the back, and then back up and round till you get to the ground level at the front. It will make a lot more sense when I eventually get around to it. Yes, Graham, there are lights in this one. I've already done it. Little switch there. So we've got a light here, and then each bedroom upstairs is lit. You can't really see it when I've got my room lights on. I see it effectively, but yes, we have 5 bedrooms lit, and the downstairs family rooms lit. These things have to be agreed in advance, really, because it's quite difficult sticking lights in after the fact. So lights cost extra because you have to allow for modelling the interior to accommodate lighting. The blinds don't open now. I think that will be a step too far. At this scale, it would be anyway. At something like 1/24th scale that we were discussing earlier, that would certainly be feasible. Just would require a lot of thinking about and a lot of intricate making. And the kitchen, of course, the kitchen's got a light in it as well. I keep forgetting about the kitchen. I haven't glued that on yet, but the kitchen has a light. You can just see the wire there. I haven't connected this, but that will connect up to all the other wiring. Thank you, Luke. I do actually have a few people say that. It's quite flattering in a way. I suppose at this time of night you just want to be chill. You don't want to be full-on intensive waffling. And it depends on, if we've got a busy live like it is tonight, it can, conversation can flow quite well. I like people asking me what I'm doing, how I do it, although it does actually slow the process down a little bit, because you've kind of got to get out of the flow of what you're doing to describe what you're doing. But it does make a better experience when people are interactive. I know I have a lot of regulars that participate. I've also got a lot of regular viewers that just sit and watch and don't. But that's fine. I know when I'm watching a live, unless it's a friend of mine, I don't usually comment. Just happy just to sit and watch and then drift off. You can tell by the stats sometimes, though, that there are a lot of transient viewers. When I look at my stats at the end of the night, not that I'm obsessed with it or anything. I'm not being sarcastic there. I'm not obsessed with it, but it's interesting to look at sometimes. And actually, when you close the live down, it's the first thing that you see. But there's quite a lot of people that see the live over the evening. Don't necessarily participate. Anyway, I do waffle a lot as well, so you've got me off topic now. So we'll fit the Velux window, and this is one thing I always forget to do, apart from on this model. I always forget the Velux windows until the last thing, and then have to cut a hole in the roof to fit it in. So we've not done that this time. We've planned it out, and we've actually got a realistic depth to the inside of the window. So the tiling will go around the roof and leave a realistic looking aperture inside. And I'm sweeping away loads of debris here and catching stuff that I need, so I just need to put all this separate. I'm making a set of stairs that go up the back, but I've decided to put that on hold for a minute until I'm sure what I'm doing. So let me just pick out the bits that I actually need from this debris pile. I like to try and tidy up as I go along, otherwise I've got mess everywhere, and it's very easy to accidentally throw stuff away that you actually need. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, I do need to add a couple of little bits of extra panel detail to them, but the shape of it is there now. And actually, I need to put some lead work around it, which I will do with paper. But that fits around after the tile's done. I'm just now going to add some filler to those gables. You like the stairs? I've actually put a staircase inside, a ground floor staircase. I don't think you can actually see it now, but it's there. Thanks, Stephen. It's made out of MDF and Foamex. So I've used a number of materials. So we've got a mixture of wood, MDF for the shell for the house that I've painted. The bricks have been done with laser board. You can see there. I don't know if you can actually see, but it's got the brick effect etched into the laser board. And I've lost all my wiring. This is just temporary, stuck in. It doesn't have a garage now. I thought that was a garage. No, the ghost isn't visible. The ghost is hiding. Okay, let's tuck that away. Yeah, so the doors and windows are made out of laser board, which is like a thin wood. This is 0.6mm thick laser board, so it's a really rigid, like your card. What's with the gap on the window roof thingy? You mean this bit here? I'm gonna put some filler in there. I haven't precision built this because it's going to be covered with tiles, so I wasn't too fussed about it making a perfect join, but I'm going to just fill it with some filler so the tiles have a flat surface to sit on. If it was the final thing, obviously I'd spend a bit more time making sure that those bits actually fit, but I'm trying kind of using cobbled together bits of leftover material just to try and get it to fit. You've levelled up. Well done, Aidan. I have no idea what that means, but well done. Thank you for gifting. You're very kind, all of you. I can't wait for the package to arrive. This is a little bit overkill, this spreader. It's more of a one-to-one scale modelling tool, but kind of does the job. You got 13 coins. You got 13 coins for levelling up. So for gifting, you got a gift. See, kindness does pay. That's my favourite square centimetre. I don't know yet. Thank you, Vaporman. You're very kind. Is it polyfiller? Almost. It's just cheap stuff from the pound shops, fix and grout. So this is actually for ceramic wall tiles, but I prefer the consistency of this to polyfiller, or ready mixed wall gap filler. And it's a bit more tough as well. So it has multi-purpose. I like using this for rendering mortar if I'm doing a certain type of stonework. It just has a nice feel to it when it's sanded. But in this instance, I'm just using it because it's what I have. Basically, it's just doing nothing other than filling gaps. But because it's a wall tile grout as well, it's kind of a glue, so it'll do a good job on gripping hold of the Foamex and it's kind of doing a dual purpose of gluing all the seams firmly together. I don't need specifically a 100% smooth finish, but I need to try and get it smooth as well. It is a bit cold in the garage still. It is getting a bit better, so I need to manage my time a little bit better because I do need to go back into the garage. But yeah, it has been just recently, and it's there's a little bit of a condensation issue as well in the garage because I've got a steel roof, so I've had to put the entire model under plastic sheeting just to keep it dry at the moment. So it's a shame because I did have a lot of momentum and I was working well, but it had to go on hold when it was too cold to work. I mean, I can put a little heater in there as well, but it affects lots of things like drying time. You just, it's not effective to work in the cold. I could probably have a go at the Royal Palace. It would take a long time to do, but I've never turned down any kind of project. The only criteria for making a model is if there's enough reference material for it. Obviously something like the Royal Palace, there's loads of photographs, but you probably don't see all the angles of it. If we're talking about Buckingham Palace. But if anything's got enough pictorial reference or map reference, then it can be made. Yes, this is a commission piece, sorry. Luke. Commissioned means somebody has paid me to make it. They've ordered it. Oops. I will have to go over this with a piece of fine sandpaper and just smooth off all the bumps, but like I say, this is just the underlayer at the moment, so it will have a full covering of tiles, which will mask everything off quite nicely. I do one at a time, Zaria. Sometimes I'll try and work on two at the same time, but with this one because I've got the client, actually literally got the client watching me build this one, so I'm building this one in its entirety. It depends what sort of projects I've got on. It's a lot. It's quite difficult concentrating on two different projects at the same time. I will try and draw up several projects so I'm ready to start the next. Oh, I don't have a detached house template now, unfortunately. It would take a lot of work for me to make a kit version that somebody else would be able to make. So unfortunately I've only got the small sort of huts and things, which were easier to do. If I had more time, and it was all I did, I think it'd be a good idea to try and make a do-it-yourself kit template for like a standard house. No, I'm just using like a ready mixed filler. It's actually a tile fixing grout compound. But love the light. Not that I'm wanting to push people away from my own thing, but there's a company called Petite Properties that do pretty nice 1/50th scale or 1/48 scale laser cut kits. They're quite generic, but if you want to have a look at those guys, they do some nice kits. My stuff's, like I say, my stuff's more bespoke. I did dabble with the idea of making kits, but it's too time consuming, especially when I'm trying to juggle commissions. I mean, Petite Properties specialise in making kits. They're called Petite Properties. So petite as in small and properties as in properties. They exhibit a lot at all the miniature shows and model railway shows. So they sort of started out in sort of doll's house type scale, but they've done some smaller scale stuff now. One of my moderators, Tony, she loves making Petite Properties kits, so they are thoroughly recommended. That's it. Yes, I don't want to overload myself. Hey Lee, how are you doing? That's the problem. You see, I keep getting ideas of things that I can do. You know, as I'm making stuff for my own purposes, I think, oh, that'd be good to try and, you know, come up with something I can quickly put on a shop. But it's like Coaster Creators just said. Then you end up giving yourself too much work, which it's fine if that's all you did. But like I say, you've got to imagine that you've got to understand that these models take like in excess of 100 hours, and that's a lot of time. So these ideas have sometimes just got to take a back shelf. Because I did start making some really cool looking ferns for the model railways, and I ended up having to sort of not scrap, but I've sort of stopped pushing that idea because it's just it was just too intense trying to keep on top of it. And there are people that are doing it as well, so I don't want to end up in a competition where it's just daft. Right, so I'm waiting for those to dry now. I'm waiting for some material to finish this little section off. Oh, thank you, Love the Light. You are extremely generous and kind in saying that. I think the other thing is you've got to love what you do, and I do love what I do. Still got some windowsills to add there. So I go around it and I spot stuff that I've missed. Thank you. Yeah, it's like I have that kind of thing that I think, oh, well, I'm not going to top that now. I think I've kind of outdone myself on that one. That just is going to be it. And then, you know, I've come onto this one and I'm having an absolute ball with this. And it's a much bigger scale. Do I ever notice any fumes? Yes, I do. I do notice when I've been super gluing too long. I do notice that I do tend to react to it a little bit. My fingers go red. It's not the reaction from it being on my skin. It's just, like I say, it's fumes. So, although I exclusively use super glue, it's not a good idea to be around it for very long. But in terms of paint, I use acrylic paint, so there's no real fume issues from acrylic paint. I haven't noticed anything from filler. If I ever use anything like aerosol paint, that's outside. So daylight hours and when it's not raining for aerosol paint. Or out in the garage and hope it dries. Thank you, Gaz. Welcome along. Thank you for commenting. Yes, they were very humid, weren't they? I mean, they still do. The Humbrol enamels are, yes, they've got a very pungent aroma, shall we say. They do acrylics as well. But like I say, I do prefer acrylics because of the drying time. And because you can, whoops, can you still hear me? I've got to verify my live by dragging a puzzle piece in. Because my face is not on screen, they just think... because my face isn't on screen, they think I'm doing nothing. This is a scale model of a client's actual house. So they've had a lot of work done on the house. It's a 1950s house that they've had extensively remodelled. So they've got a lot of architect's plans, which are extremely useful when you're making a scale model. I don't always have the luxury of that. So I've used the architect's plans to make my own drawings because they don't translate very well. It's funny because whenever you get an architect's PDF and then you import it into a drawing program, it's full of lots of little lines. Nothing. It must be the CAD package that they use to draw everything in. It's not compatible with the Illustrator programs. So when you open something like a window, it's not a box, it's full of lots of little lines. So I use that as a layer on my drawing, and then I just trace everything or redraw everything. Who doesn't understand the wiring? Hello, Andy's dental nurse. It is. It's lit. Look. Press the switch, light comes on. That's Andy's cat. Can you see Andy's cat? Andy's cat's on the bed. Scale is 150 scale. So for every unit is 50 times smaller than it is in real life. Somebody wants me to co-host. I don't want to co-host, I can't press the button. Yes, we included Chester the cat. So it's not only has it got all the kids' beds in, there's a little ghost in the attic in a bed, and there's a cat on the bed. So I asked Andy where the cat liked to sit most often, and it's the bed in the master bedroom, so that's where cat lives. Exactly. Do you want a model making of your of the palace? I'll knock you one up in a month. It'll only cost you 10 grand. And can I come and visit for free? It's a cat. There's a cat on the bed. Did you not catch that? Can I focus on Kitty? No, it won't focus. Yes, it will. Look, there's Kitty on the bed. It's a 3D printed cat. I didn't 3D print it, I bought it. But you heard something else too. No, it's just cat. There's a ghost on a bed. There's a ghost hiding in the attic there. There's a little single bed in the attic with a ghost sat on top of it. You'll have to give the ghost a name. I've got my cat with me. Excuse the scruffy room here, but there's my little Ginny. usually have Bella coming in and causing chaos, but Ginny's watching tonight. Well, not watching, she's kind of just sat there being quiet. Casper, yes, why not? That is not sticking. Why are you not sticking? Special sticking quickly. Did you both say Casper? I've had no deliveries today, but I'll tell you as soon as it arrives. That's my existing one. I did actually get home tonight and found out I'd shut the cat in. One of the cats, not Ginny over there, but I'd shut Bella in this room all day. So just what I'm spraying. Just what I'm spraying. Did he get a pass? No. So I don't think Bella actually took an interest in the house, thank goodness. I don't have any fingerprints anymore, so I could become a career criminal. Because I'm fiddling around with super glue so much, I just lose all my fingerprints. I can't use my fingerprint identity for my laptop anymore. It's just refusing to. It's refusing to acknowledge me. Under meter box. Huh. Okay. So that's because you've had it delivered and not me. It's by the bin then outside. I will. I'll go and check. I'll go and check afterwards. But it's dark when I get home, so I don't see anything initially lurking. But I'll go and check if that's what it says. It's likely to be there still. It's annoying, really, because my daughter's been at home all day, so she could quite easily have taken delivery. Sometimes I just don't think they try. The delivery people, that is, not my daughter. Mind you, she didn't even notice that the cat had been shut in here all day either, so... Sorry, let me just put that back in shot. No, it's well, I say it's a job. It's a second job. I do this as a second job at the moment, but it's very much a business. I make models professionally, but in addition to the day job. Cut those excess bits off there because I need to add a little bit of fascia to there in a minute. It would be. It's the dream, but I need to have a client list long enough to replace the salary and then some. That's the difficulty. I mean, I've got a big enough waiting list. It's just I really need that waiting list to be constant. Now I need to work out which of these fascias go where. So all that work on doubling up the boarding is just so I can then hide it with these fascia pieces. So this is one piece that's been laser cut. So I'm busy right through to about September at the moment, and I do have something coming up which may scupper that, but it's in an exciting way. Can't say too much about that, but I would be able to work a lot faster if I was doing it all day, every day. But then again, if I was doing it as a full-time job, I wouldn't be on an evening doing it, so you would miss out on the lives. Because if I was doing it as a full-time job, I'd want a little bit of downtime as the full-time occupation. I'd want a bit of downtime as well. So the drawback to sort of being successful and having so much work to do is that I hardly get any downtime. So these are all my laser cut fascias I've designed to go on it. So I need to put the fascia on first, and then I'll tile it, and then I've got a cover to go over the top of that afterwards. Good evening, People United. How are you doing? Now, I've got the fascias to add on there, but I'm going to wait until I've sanded that down before I can get to it properly. Like I say, I have started on the set of steps that go down the back. So I've made a little riser piece there, and I'm going to stick all my treads on top of that, but I just need to confirm a few things before I can crack on with that. Not too bad. I've got a lot done tonight. I've stalled a little because of things that I need to wait for, but everything's going really well. Cracking on nicely with everything. Right. What's the hole? Here, it's like this is just a little basement area. They use it for garden furniture storage and things like that. So it's just a little under house storage unit, and at the moment I'm using it to store the battery. But it won't stay there forever, but it's just a handy little hole for the battery at the minute. Oh, the door beside it, that's the door to the basement. So that's what I'm just going to look at doing now. I need to cut that hole out so I can stick the door in. Because at the moment the door doesn't fit properly. Or it does, but it just fits flush, and I need to make it just recess a little bit. So to do that I need to cut that bit of card away, but it's quite thick card. It is actually card inside, because when I was making the foundations, I didn't have any Foamex left, so I used 1mm grey board thickened up, doubled up to make 2mm grey board, but it's still quite flimsy. But because of that, I can actually slice through it. So I'm just going to carefully hack my way into this so I can inset the door. I'm going to turn the basement into a pub. That sounds like a good idea. Then all this brickwork needs painting. A motorhome, yeah, quite tricky, but it's possible. I'd have to use a completely different process, but I don't see why not. At LNR Models, Claire. Sorry, I just picked up. I was going to write it on a piece of board, but I've got super glue all over my fingers now. But the same as my username on here, but without an underscore. So it's LNR Models, all one word. It's taken, well, to get to this stage, I've been making for about just over 50 hours. I've probably spent about 15 or 20 hours drawing it up. So from when I first started gluing bits of material together, it's taken 50 hours to get to this stage. Watch my fingers. I think I need a new blade. Oh, thanks, Andy. Thank you, Aid. There's a few paint marks in places, so ignore the finish at the moment. The finish is not final. The walls have been painted, but I've still got to go over and touch up some of the... You can see a few bits here. There's a little bit of white that's seeped in from when I sprayed the walls. So that's got to be scraped off and painted brown again. The brickwork needs painting completely from scratch, but I've got a few little dribbles of white paint from when I painted the... I've got distracted there. When I painted the exterior. So the exterior's taken several coats of primer and then a coat of white household emulsion stippled on to create a textured effect. I don't know if you can see that in this light, but it has a bit of a textured. Yes, it's it's taken some time to get here and there's still some time to go, but once we do get to the sort of painting up stage, it's going to really sort of transform it. Thank you, Luke. You're very kind. So even if you don't manage to catch the live again, I will be obviously posting videos of the final thing, which you may be able to see. But you are more than welcome to follow the journey. We're nearly through. Box knife is actually going to be much better for something like this because it's a much sturdier blade, and I don't like these 11A blades at all. That being one of the reasons it just gets stuck. I'm going to take my hand away from it completely. Oh well, I know all about that. GCSEs, my lad did that a couple of years ago. You need to prepare for that. Don't want to get distracted this time of year. I'm laughing to myself because the house has stolen my knife. Look. I think I need to get myself a new handle. I think the part of the problem is that I've used this so many times that it's actually wearing away the metal on that clasp there, that the blades just don't stay put. It's my favourite blade that handle though. I've had this over 20 years. Maybe that's why it's so knackered. Because it's just old. You know, I said this board was quite easy to cut through. If I'd done this with Foamex, it would have been through by now. The cardboard appears to be eating my blade. It's alright, nothing's going to end up broken. Apart from my will to live. I'll tell you what I did once. Is house I built a model of. I decided I didn't like the fascia. It was a terraced house, so it was a mid-terrace, but the front was brick, but the rest of it was, if you're worried about it, I'm worried about fingers too, so fine. Famous last words. But the house I did, it was a terraced, mid-terrace house, so the front was brick, but the sides were just left as if it was rendered. But I decided I didn't like the brick finish on the front. But this is halfway through building it. So I actually cut the front of the house off and redid it. And I did that on a live. So I was kind of doing what I'm doing now, but it will be better with a razor saw, you know. You are right. If this was MDF, it'd be harder to do. It's just because it's quite a thick card. It's turning out to be quite tricky to do. Why didn't I decide to just stick the door in there anyway? Initially, this was going to be the door. This was going to be the door because it's a plain white panelled door. But Andy's putting a new door in it. So, of course, I've got to make it. Cutting a hole. I'm cutting a hole in the wall so I can put a door in. Molly. But the bigger picture is I'm making a scale model house. Yes, you reminded me about it, Gillian. Your fault. I've got a huge hole to hack. Right, with 3/4 of the way through. Come on, it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. I think a lot of people are either worried about it or hoping I do. It's the jeopardy. Yeah, not many people cut the door off. I'd have had better luck with an angle grinder. It's the fact that my scalpel's constantly relinquishing the blade. It makes it harder to do. It is an accident waiting to happen, Jordan. I think this is why people are watching now. They're waiting for me to either slip, cut my finger, rip through the house, or break something. I say that the only thing it's going to break is my will. But it's not going to. I am going to win. Yay, we did it. We did it. Collectively, we've done it. I'm going to steal all the copper wiring from inside. I think part of my issue there is I was also cutting through a little bit of sliver of plastic for the glazing upstairs. Please let it fit after that. Oh no, it doesn't fit, it's too big. It is actually a little bit too big. But I think it's actually a perfect fit. It just fits snugly in there now. Ta-da! As all the great magicians say. It's really quite handy that that door, in reality, is the exact same size. It is better too big than too small, so there we go. Doors in. After all that, it's actually so snug I don't actually need to glue it. It's such a snug fit that it fits quite nicely in without having to glue. What time are we on? Nearly 11. I think that's going to be as much as I'm going to do tonight. It is. I do have some lovely viewers, and it's nice to have so many people watching and getting involved. And I'm thankful for you for all the manifestation of not cutting my fingers, that you're all pouring through the screen. But I was going to carry on through after midnight, I think, but I'm waiting for things to draw. I'm waiting for things to dry. Tomorrow I'm going to sand these down so I can fit the fascias. I'll just show you one before I go. So I've got the tiny little fascias that fit over there and cover that bit. So each of these will just have a nice little fascia piece, like so. So I've got one for each of those gables, and then I've got some little fascia cladding to put in front of there. Thank you, Jeff. He has. I'm just missing one part of the roof now. which is when I'm showing the electrics. But yeah, so once I've sanded all these gables down, I can put the fascias on properly, and then start at looking at the roofing. So thank you for watching tonight. I know it's been a bit of a late one. There's been a lot more people than usual, which is very good. I'm thankful to all of you for showing interest in my work. So hopefully you'll... they have nothing to steal. That's what they made the door for you, absolutely. So, yeah, I'm not going to be around tomorrow. As much as I'd like to be, I've just no time. So Friday night I'll be back. Saturday night I won't be around either. So get in touch then, Jordan. Absolutely. Anybody wants to message me, feel free. My DMs are open. And click on that follow button, and you can't find me on YouTube. I am definitely on YouTube. Have I followed you, Claire? I have. I'll try and send you a message. Right, I'll do I know when I'll be on Friday. Andy's just sent you a link there. Don't know if you can see. Can I pin that? But the important bit to look for is if you go to YouTube and just look for @LNR Models, you will find my channel. Okay, guys, night, and speak to you soon. Oops, we clicked on the wrong button there.